Hi everyone, welcome to Claymore Division. This time we're looking at some more book reviews, and I'm Brad Homer.
I'm Omer Ibrahim.
Omer, what book have you been reading for us?
I have been reading Headline Publishing, Simon Scarrow and TJ Andrews' Arena. I want to say series, it's one book. It's been published as 5 separate ebook novellos as Barbarian, Challenger, First Sword, Revenge and Champion. And they've put it together and printed it on paper just as Arena. And it is a prequel to Simon Scarrow's I call them the Eagle series. Everybody just calls them the Roman series because he changed the name of them a bit later on. And it follows a young. He starts out as a soldier named Pavo, whose father is part of the kind of traitors to the Roman Empire. So he is beheaded in the arena, and then his son is sold into slavery and eventually into the gladiatorial arena. And it also follows Macro, one of the main, or Macro, one of the main characters from the Eagle series, along with Macro and Cato. And it happens, if you know the series well enough, in the book Centurion, there's a small story about Macro training with the gladiator to fight to kill the man that killed his father. And it happens after that. Macro is an Optio, is second in command of a century, and he's trying to become the centurion that we know him as in the rest of the books. I am already a rather large fan of Simon Scarrow's Roman series anyway, so I guess I'm a little bit biased towards the books, but I started at book 7 and then went back to book 1. Now I'm back at 7. Now I'm reading the prequel. Absolutely brilliant. The story is fantastic. I think Simon Scarrow has written gladiatorial Roman before when he wrote Fight for Freedom, which is a more of like a junior book in the kind of age range of Alex Scarrow. I think there might have been some kind of friendly competition between the two of them to write in each other's age ranges.
Okay.
So he's written about gladiators before. Also, with the success of the Spartacus series, gladiatorial combat and Roman life is so popular at the minute that he's. I don't want to say cashed in because it's clear in the books he has written one of the Eagle series is called Gladiator, and there's lots of kind of gladiatorial combat. So he's clearly passionate about it, but has focused on the legions before. So this is his chance to go on with it. And yeah, no, just a love. It's an oversized novel because it's 5 novellos. It's a big chunky book, but no, well worth reading if you have any kind of not knowledge of the other series, or if you've been into the rest of them at all, or if not, it's a lovely introduction. I may have just given away a spoiler, but the first book came out 10 years ago.
If you've not read any of Scarrow's other stuff, this is a good.
It's a great place to start. Yeah, okay. I actually think you'd probably enjoy it more. There's a cameo from some of the big players in the other series. He couldn't resist. It's not much of a spoiler because it doesn't affect the story, but he couldn't resist dropping Cato's name in very, very briefly as a mention as to what he was up to at the time.
I have a feeling he'll be the death of me.
Yeah. And for the life of me, I can't remember his name, but the Greek senator who is constantly causing problems for Macro and Cato appears towards the end of the book causing problems.
Do you think if you're a fan of like Cornwell or Ben Kane or guys like that, is Scarrow going to appeal?
Simon Scarrow writes very much differently to a lot of the others, but not so far that he's separated. I kind of like to imagine all the historical authors like Robert Lowe, Giles Christian, Bernard Cornwell, Simon Scarrow, the elite that everybody knows, Ben Kane. I like to imagine them as part of this little historic fiction club, because a lot of time they borrow characters and stories from each other.
Okay.
You will see names and descriptions of people who might be the main character in one book appear as a lesser character in another, and it's really, really nice. They're obviously fewer, less swords. They're obviously nodding to each other, and it's really nice to see.
Do you think it's of interest to guys who might be coming more from a fantasy background, if you're into like Song of Ice and Fire or something like that crosses over into
Scarrow is really, really good at writing all the politicking and the twists. It's not as complex in this because they were short books. It does have an overlying theme of he's trying to help him and he's trying to kill him all the way through this, and then all of a sudden he has the guy's turned and he's helping them. It works that it's not as intriguing as, say, if you're going to take it in TV series. It's not like watching Dune.
Yeah.
It's not like watching Rome. It's more like watching Spartacus. Certainly there are twists and turns, and characters backstab each other all the time. But it's a little bit more linear than anything else. A little bit more linear than his Eagle series, where.
What would you score it a 10B?
Score it a 10. I've got to do in 2 parts. If
Nothing
I had
a short when Omer's
no, if you apart from
Apart
my
from
sword, the Gladius.
Yeah, the Gladius.
Only about 30 centimeters.
Yeah.
That's probably a lie. Anyway, if you are, it's like a button mushroom. If you are reading this and you've not read Simon Scarrow, it's a 9. It's just a brilliant story. A little bit predictable in parts, but a brilliant story. If you are already into Scarrow, it probably scores more like an 8. 8.5 tops, because it is not as good as Centurion, which won awards.
Yeah, sure.
And it was one of the best-selling books of the year, I think, when Centurion came out. It's not as good as some of the other Eagle series, but still well worth reading if you're into it. I had started buying the novellos online, and wonderfully they all come out as in a book. So I guess if you already have all 5, this is just them in a compendium. There's nothing extra. Don't worry about that. If you only have 1 or 2, the value for money is going to be in buying the book instead of downloading the rest. Okay. If you're missing, I'd say if you've bought 3, it's worth buying this for a nice collection. If you've bought 4, it's not worth buying it for just 1. Gotcha. Just spend the $1.99 on the extra book.
Sure.
He gets his money anyway, and I absolutely love Simon Scarrow. So it's an 8.5 and a 9 out of 10.
So it's out now?
It is out now, yes. Go buy it. Headline Publishing. It'll be everywhere. Or download it. It's everywhere. You can download it as 5 books or 1. I think it works out 40p cheaper to download it as 1 book. Do that. That's clever. Buy it all. And then tell Simon Scarrow I want to write things with him. Give me a sword. I shall stab. Stab, stab, stab.
The next book up for us to review is Disaster at D-Day, The Germans Defeat the Allies, June 44, by Peter, you're Greek, is it?
Peter, not Greek, not.
Tsouras.
Tsouras.
I think it's Peter Tsouras.
T.S.
Apologies to Peter if we're not getting your name right.
Email us.
It is an alternate history book in which the invasion of the D-Day landings backfire. And it's a kind of really spiral off chaos theory moment. It's a unit gets misplaced and there's some inclement weather, and that's what kicks off this massive change. Yeah, exactly. I found it was a great idea. I wasn't 100% behind the execution of it. We've just probably assumed a lot of prior knowledge and not with like a Hollywoodized or historical fiction knowledge.
Need to know that.
I know a fair bit about D-Day landings, but going into this was like I felt I should have known unit formation numbers and stuff like that. It's very in depth and very minutiae heavy, but at the same time, there's something about the way it's written. It feels quite detached as well. I mean, in a previous episode, we've discussed how Catch That Tiger was like really deep and really personal. And for something like this, which is alternate history, and alternate history isn't all that different from historical fiction, really, it felt like there could have been cause for more narrative hooks. And there are big name generals. I mean, both Monty and Rommel do turn up in it as characters, for want of a better word. And there's just something about the narrative that felt kind of stop-start. Every time I felt it was getting going, and I was kind of getting into, now the action started, this is getting really good there, and there was a massive slowdown where it either cut to a different beach or a different landing zone, and we had to go through the unit formations and who was where and why they were there again. Is it like
the end of Return of the Jedi, where just as you get into the bit with the spaceships, it cuts to the Endor moon?
I can't like the Endor moon.
But that's a good bit, but you know what I mean? It darts around.
Yeah, but not even particularly well. I mean, cliffhanger endings are fine. If you're going to cliffhanger and cut something else, that's a narrative technique for getting people to want to read on further. But with this, you just feel like, kind of that bit, here we go again.
End to start.
And so it was like kind of, and I found it really struggling trying to keep the pace up with it. When it's good, it's very good. It's it doesn't go for that close up, intimate historical vibe we've discussed before. It is more on an operational level. It is more zoomed out. But it does assume a lot of knowledge, and not just of being a World War II amateur historian. You've got to know D-Day.
Really know your stuff. It's not, you can't just read a Wikipedia entry before you read it.
No. It assumes a lot of prior knowledge. It's very wordy as well.
Oh yeah, no, just flicking through this book, there's lots of like statistics and maps and confusing pictures.
The maps and photos and so forth are superb.
I don't like books that don't have pictures.
It's true, he doesn't. Or lift up flaps.
Sometimes they surprise me.
The maps were very handy for getting pictures of who is supposed to be where. But like I say, I'm sticking with my original point. This was a good idea. I just felt it could have been done better. If you're going to go down the alternate history route, and alternate history is certainly an interesting way of tackling things.
Yeah, no.
You can learn more about what happened.
What if you turn left instead of right?
You can learn a lot about what did happen by thinking what could have happened.
Yeah, that's what a lot of wargaming is about.
Absolutely.
What would happen if the Nazis had air balloons? Well, they might have got Russia, because the air doesn't. There's no ice for skidding on the air. Have you ever seen a balloon skid? Balloons don't skid. They don't even have tracks. I mean, they pop, so that's probably not good. You don't want a popping tank.
Disaster at D-Day, the Germans defeat the Allies June 44 by Peter Tsouras is available now from Frontline Books. I really did want to like it more than I actually did, but it's a 5 for me. A 5 out of 10 for being that. Yeah, I really wanted to like it, but it stalled too often for me. If you're into the alternate history, or if you really do know D-Day and do want to learn a bit more of minutiae behind it, then pick it up. If you're if you're more of a casual history fan, and you're looking for alternate history, as Omer said, you might be better off with historical fiction or a war game instead.
Don't use balloons in war.
Good advice for life.
So the third and last book that we are having a look at is the Wargaming Compendium by Henry Hyde, published by Pen and Sword. It is a mightily huge brick of a book.
You hold that up so we can see.
Yeah, let's get. There's that, and then there's.
Whoa!
It's a house brick of a book. It's heavy, and to be honest, the price you pay is just for the amount of trees that went into this book is quite impressive. It is a complete compendium of absolutely everything wargaming. I couldn't find anything it's missed. Okay. Even the smaller games out there, some of them are listed. I mean, I'm guessing if there's like
little
no, that's in there.
Oh, okay.
That's in there. I'm guessing if there's some little independent
no one can cover everything.
Ones. Exactly, yeah. But I couldn't find anything. It is the history. Just to read like on the back, so I'm not giving anything away. There's 11 sections in the book, and it covers everything. Basic concepts of wargaming, history of wargaming, choosing a period, something to fight for, which is battlefields, assembling your forces, small to large, shot, steel and stone, which is an entire set of game rules, learn by playing, other aspects of wargaming, advice for the digital age, and resources. It covers everything from where to get your armies from. It's got like a resources list. Mm-hmm. It's got how to take good photographs of your models for your own blogs. It's got how to get a blog.
We needed,
yeah, how does that work? There is absolutely everything. I would say there are about 30 games minimum in here that you can play, from all the way from a very simple game that was used in schools to teach Latin, and it uses gladiatorial combat with 2 figures, and it's got that wonderful thing that some war games do of going, hey, don't use expensive figures and paint them up and buy a box of them. Just get 2 of those toy ones you get in toy shops. Mm-hmm. Like get 2 knights and use those. And it is so extensively researched. There is just everything, like the history of wargaming, down to even just before I started filming this, I flicked to a page and there's a picture of a guy using some kind of cyber pen to design a Roman military helmet. Yeah, a CAD pen, and it's just everything is in there. To be perfectly honest, it's not a book you read all the way through like a novel. You can't.
Okay.
I mean, again, these are the different sections. If you see those little coloured slots,
It's a mammoth,
there is no way that I was going to read this cover to cover to review within 3 months.
Okay.
I'd say there's no way to do it. You go to the bits you enjoy, and then you flick to the other bits as you go through. It's definitely worth reading every page, though. I can't think of anything that isn't in there. So it's an instant and probably our first 10 out of 10.
Wow.
Because
okay.
I mean, the way I'd put it as well is if you need so many criteria to get a point on an out of 10 score, this has got so many things in it that it has to be a 10. Even if half this book was rubbish, there's still enough in there that you're going to want to read. It wins on the Roman legions style of winning, where you just, apart from ridiculous amount of tactics, but just sheer weight of force of quality. It's a machine of a book, which I think may become quite the
Bible of Wargaming.
Yeah, I think it will be one of those ones like I'm trying to think of like a Delia Smith cookbook.
Okay.
Like, you want a cookbook, get Delia Smith. You want a Wargames Compendium, get Henry Hyde's.
It's for history of Wargaming, model, terrain building, paint
everything.
guides,
How to paint.
Complete rule sets.
There is, I mean, like I say, there's the Gladiator game in there, which is 2 figures. Takes you 10 minutes to play, maybe, with learning the rules. And then there's a game called Shot, Steel and Sewn, which is a complete set of horse and musket era rules.
So that's aimed at both complete newcomers and people who are
absolutely everything. Yeah, and I think we're kind of smack down in the middle of that.
Yeah, okay.
It covers miniatures to hex. It is slightly more skewed to miniature gaming.
Yeah, okay. Most Wargamers are.
Yeah, but it also covers hex and counter.
Okay.
It's in there, and everything through RPG gaming, campaigns, things like Dungeons and Dragons. It just. If it's related at all, it's in there. Even just the front cover there's elephants and planes with polka dots and dragons and knights. A balloon.
Yeah.
There's a war balloon.
Oh, they are a thing.
Nice. Just don't waste time. Go and buy it. I don't imagine you'll get it as an ebook. That would be ridiculous. Maybe I think if you downloaded this to a Kindle, the Kindle would get heavy.
It'd probably look fine. But
yeah, don't download it to an iPhone.
You want that to flick through anyway.
Oh yeah. This is a coffee table book. Yeah. It's not a toilet book. Don't disgrace it like that. Don't put your pooey fingers on it.
It's Wargaming Compendium by Henry Hyde from Pen and Sword, and Claymore Division's first ever 10 out of 10.
First out of 10 out of 10. I mean, yeah, or just buy a house brick, because it's massive.
That's got more knowledge than a house brick.
If you put this in an air balloon, it would crash.
This has been Claymore Division. Till next time, I'm Brad Harmer.
And I'm Omar Ibrahim.
And this is the Wargaming Compendium.
Buy it with your hands. Oh yeah, so I'm on the way, funny enough, on the way to a gig with my band. Decided we'd stop off and look what I found. This is the Hoogan, sailed here, I think 67, 49, sorry, to commemorate the original landing in Ebbsfleet, and here in Ramsgate. And it's sat here for years, and I've been out every now and again, but I've seen it in the middle of broad daylight, and it's bloody huge. Later with a pair of bolt cutters. I could probably drag it behind the car. I don't think it will fit in the boot.